We're building our entire future on AI, right? We're trusting it with everything from spotting fraud to diagnosing diseases. But what if the very foundation it's learning from, the data, is secretly being corrupted? Today, we're going to dive into the world of AI data poisoning. It's a threat that takes an AI's single greatest strength, its ability to learn, and turns it into its biggest weakness. So, to really get a handle on just how high the stakes are, we've got to go back a few years and look at a pretty wild and, honestly, a little terrifying story of an AI that just went completely off the rails, almost overnight. Okay, so meet Tay. Microsoft's idea was pretty cool. They'd release this friendly chatbot, and it would learn by just talking to people on Twitter. The more conversations it had, the smarter it was supposed to get. But the whole experiment just went spectacularly wrong. In less than 24 hours, internet trolls figured out they could just feed Tay a constant diet of horrible, toxic language. And Tay, well, it learned its lessons all too well, forcing Microsoft to pull the plug in a very public way. So what really happened there? Was this just some online prank gone too far? Or was it something more? Did it actually expose a massive security flaw in the way we're all building AI? And that whole story, that's the perfect way to start talking about the core concept here. It's the digital version of trying to teach a student from a textbook that's just filled with lies. So let's break down the anatomy of this kind of attack. So what is data poisoning? Well, it's a really stealthy kind of cyber attack where someone on the outside intentionally sneaks bad, corrupted data into an AI's training set. The whole point is to rot the model from the inside out, to get it to make bad decisions, learn harmful biases, or even create hidden vulnerabilities that the attacker can use later on. It's sabotage at the most basic level. And usually attackers have one of two goals in mind. The first one is just simple chaos, right? Just degrade the model's performance so much that it becomes totally unreliable, completely useless. But the second goal, that one's way more clever. It's about creating a secret backdoor, a hidden trigger, maybe a specific word or a type of image that forces the AI to do something malicious, but only when the attacker wants it to. The rest of the time, it acts perfectly normal. And they've got a whole bag of tricks to pull this off. They can do something called label flipping, they can inject totally new malicious data, they can compromise the outside sources an AI learns from, or, and this is a big one, they can upload already poisoned models to open source websites just waiting for some developer to come along and use it. Now, take a look at this slide, because it shows you just how simple but effective one of these methods can be. This is that label flipping I just mentioned. On the left, you've got the good, clean data. But on the right, an attacker has gone in and secretly swapped some of the labels. They are literally teaching the AI that a picture of a cat is a dog. You do that thousands of times, and the model's whole understanding of the world gets completely twisted. So here's the really crucial part. This isn't just a theoretical problem that researchers talk about. They've actually measured the impact of these attacks. And honestly, the results are pretty staggering. Yeah, we're way past the what-if stage here. Scientists have run these controlled experiments to see exactly how much damage an attack like this can do, and the numbers they've come back with show a shocking level of vulnerability in even the most advanced AI models. Just look at this number. In one study, a data poisoning attack caused a massive 27.2% drop in the accuracy of an image recognition model. I mean, think about that. That's the difference between a system you can rely on and one that is just plain wrong more than a quarter of the time. But it gets worse. In a scenario with much higher stakes, an AI built to detect insurance fraud saw its effectiveness just plummet by 41%. A tool that was supposed to be a powerful weapon against financial crime suddenly became dangerously unreliable. And this chart right here, this shows you what that 41% drop actually looks like. The poisoned model, it correctly spotted only 4 cases of fraud, but it completely missed 51 others. It was basically blind to the exact thing it was built to find. That's the silent sabotage right there in action. Okay, so how in the world do you fight an enemy that attacks you from inside your own data? Well, the good news is the industry is already on it. It's all about building the antidote. If you talk to any cybersecurity expert, they'll tell you the exact same thing. Prevention is everything. Because once a model has been trained on bad data, trying to fix it, it's like trying to unbake a cake. It's incredibly difficult, and sometimes it's just plain impossible. The best defense is a really good offense. And that means you need a multi-layered defense. First off, you have to validate and track your data. You need to know where it's coming from and clean it up before it ever gets near your model. Second, you have to lock down access. Not everybody on a team needs to be able to change the training data. Third, you've got to be constantly monitoring the AI's behavior, looking for anything weird or any sudden drops in performance. And finally, you can actually train the AI to be defensive. Basically teach it how to spot and ignore data that looks like it might be poisoned. All of this, it leads us to a much bigger, much more important question about the future of AI and how we're going to live with it. You see, data poisoning really shines a massive spotlight on the central paradox of AI, the very thing that makes it so incredible. Its ability to learn from these enormous piles of data is also its Achilles heel. It's what makes it so fragile. And that leaves us with the one question that really matters for our future. As we hand over more and more critical decisions to AI, in medicine, in finance, in transportation, how can we ever guarantee that we can trust what it knows? How do we build systems we can actually truly rely on?